You are now locked in to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast with Miss G. Before we get into the nitty gritty, let us introduce ourselves. We are your hosts. I'm Temi.
I'm Ayo.
And I'm Ashley.
Hi guys.
Sorry guys, if you just see us looking that way, the rats have come back. So.
Yeah.
Again. Anyways,
we didn't
some of you knew we didn't upload last week, and those are the
most
real
of you
ones.
didn't, but that's fine.
Do you know what? I'm not even going to say anything today. I'm going to leave it to them.
Yeah, no,
I've got a lot to say for you lot, but I'm going to wait until next week.
I don't have any mad things to say. We didn't upload last week just because we had a
We had a break.
We needed a break. Yeah. We don't need to
technical. There was no technical.
I was about to say technical difficulties.
Yeah, we just thought we
took a week off.
take some time out, see who notices, who doesn't.
Mate, someone literally messaged me like, "Oh, you didn't send me the promo this week." I was like, "Oh, I'll actually shout you out, Joyce."
Some of you actually wait for our weekly episodes, and I think that's so cute. We honestly appreciate you. We appreciate everyone that's been supporting from the day one. We appreciate people that joined later on. You know, guys. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. You know, we really genuinely appreciate all your support so far.
And to those as you know, are watching but not subscribing.
I thought you said you're leaving it till next week.
Well, you know, sometimes we say things we don't mean it.
She was never gonna leave.
She's a liar. Don't believe me. There are some people that are watching, not subscribing, not engaging,
not following.
You know, you're waiting for Soapbox to close down. Wow. We're not.
You're
going
waiting until
anywhere.
you see us on like a popular person's story to support us.
Yeah, you're waiting until you see us back in the bedroom.
But back in the where?
They want us.
We're not backsliding.
Hallelujah.
There's no such thing.
We're not Lot's wife. We're only going forward.
And we're not looking back.
Only forward.
Wow.
Only up.
Wow. Wow,
anyway,
I like that one.
That was powerful. Sis.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one.
She's gained some new powers recently, but we won't talk about that. Anyways, this week we wanted to
This girl's cheeky, you know.
I was waiting for it. She lasted longer than I thought.
Yeah,
she really did.
And she said she was waiting and you came. I was waiting and you came.
She lasted a lot longer than I thought.
I'll give her that. To disguise it in a nice way.
How can you say I've gained new powers? Yes,
you have.
I've deepened my intimacy with the Lord.
Amen. Ashley, wow.
I won't say too much because my mouth can enter somewhere.
Anyway,
this week we wanted to discuss the topic of do women, as women, do we think that women as a collective secretly compete with each other, and in what ways, and how does it manifest? How does it look like? You know, the vibes.
I feel like one of the reasons why we've chosen this specific topic to discuss is because we believe it might actually be quite
controversial.
Wow.
It's okay.
You're getting better.
You're getting better for 1 week.
Controversial.
You're getting better.
You can't get better one time.
That's it.
Controversial.
I'm sorry, carry on.
So we thought it'd be quite controversial to have this discussion because we feel like I don't know if we'll all have different opinions, but there's a chance that we could.
Yeah.
But we feel like you guys might not necessarily agree with us, which is fine. That's the whole point of our podcast, because we do feel like a lot of the topics that we do have are quite relatable, and you know, we all as a collective have the same opinions. But let's see what you guys think about this specific topic.
And where I wanted to start was where the inspiration for this one came from. So basically I was talking to my cousin, the cousin that's been on this podcast Fiends episode, that's me.
Shout out to him.
He basically was like, he feels that as though a lot of women are secretly competing with each other, and the realm he explained it in was, say for instance a group of girls, there are some friends that they wouldn't want that friend to be in front of their man, because behind like their thoughts they're thinking that girl could probably steal her man, or she thinks that the man might think that her friend is prettier than her.
Thinking of that.
It's so funny that she's held that to the podcast, so then we're not. I get it. Yeah.
Because I knew that would like spark a different conversation. So he was saying he thinks women compete in that regard. Like he said that there was even one question that he said that I thought was crazy, because I don't think like this, but he said he thinks there's women that think like this, and it was, if you've got a guy that you're interested in, like girls should ask themselves this question: if you've got a guy you're interested in, which one of your friends are you not bringing them around? And I was like,
I can't believe that's even a question to even begin with.
There's girls that he believes
there
like
definitely are,
and so it stemmed to the question: are women secretly competing?
Do you know what it made me think of? Do you remember that girl on Twitter? This was time ago, and she was literally she posted a screenshot where her friend messaged her and was like, "Oh, by the way, we're not going to this place anymore. We're going here, so don't wear makeup. It's just gonna be me and my man."
Oh my days! Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, but I was never wearing makeup for you. Like, you know me. I like to dress up like I want to wear makeup." She's like, "Oh, but why do you need to wear makeup? It's me and my man. Like, why are you wearing makeup?" Oh. And I find that, I'm so sorry, that is so weird to me.
Very toxic.
That's like me saying to one of you, "Oh, don't dress nice, like dress down, because my man's gonna be there."
Never told each other how to dress.
Oh, never.
What is that?
That's not, because when he asked that, I couldn't relate, because obviously we don't do that. Like, that's not a thing
I can't
amongst
relate
us.
at all.
But I definitely can see how that can be a feature of female friendships, where there's some girls that might feel like insecure, or
I was gonna say, like, do you think it's an insecurity?
I think it's an insecurity thing where you think you're not as pretty as maybe a certain girl, or you've seen the attention that a certain girl in your friendship group gets, and you feel as though
you feel threatened.
So you're almost competing in a way where it's like, if I go out with her, then maybe men won't talk to me, maybe
And let's take out the word friendship, because that's not a friendship. Wow. That is not a friendship. So if if you have a friend like that, or if you have someone in your life like that disguising to be a friend, I'm here to tell you today, they're not your friend. They might have deeper issues that they need to work on. Maybe you need to stay out of the mix for now and let them sort themselves out, and hopefully when they heal, you can carry on with your friendship. So obviously the aspect of this conversation has to do with competitiveness between women, but that particular example can stem from different things, like we said, insecurity, and I think another thing is previous experiences as well. Even though it's not justified, it's not a thing that should ever be done, but a lot of women have that mindset based off the experiences they've had in the past, where someone that they've been with had went behind their back and backstabbed them, and now they've been with their men. So there's that situation. There's that situation, and also if your man, if you feel like your man is that much of a loose
cannon.
I was gonna say bicycle, but
that word is
cannon.
I'm a loose bicycle.
If your man's a bit of a whore, and you're scared that you could easily lose him like that, then you shouldn't really be with him.
I 100%
so
I agree.
Your man you shouldn't be with someone that can easily make you feel like they can easily go away, especially to your friend.
If it doesn't make you feel safe, then
what's the point? You're holding on to a relationship for dear life. What is that?
And also, as a woman, you should feel safe in yourself. Because for me, I think one thing we should discuss is there is the underlying subconscious realization that other girls are pretty, or that some girls you might feel are prettier than you, or whatever. But how you can navigate that, you can navigate that in a very healthy way. You can navigate that in a way that doesn't manifest into a very toxic thing. And I think some girls sometimes are not able to navigate that, because at the end of the day, when it comes to just real life, there's always going to be people that are more attractive than you, whatever. But that doesn't have to dictate how you interact with them, and that doesn't have to dictate how you navigate the world as well.
So
that's it.
Do you have any specific examples of how you can actually navigate?
I think a good example I could use was like secondary school times. And the thing about this is, like, if I'm honest, it's sticky when you're young and you don't know how to regulate your emotions.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
And your thoughts and feelings about this. But if you genuinely care about your friend, and you actually know that person, the friend that you don't have there's no ill intention from them towards you, and you don't have ill intention, then it shouldn't really do anything. So for instance, me and Temi, if you know us, we go way back, year 7. And there was definitely a difference between the way people related with her and people related with me. Right. But that could have easily turned into a toxic situation where I was like, oh, I'm competing with her now. I'm always going to tear her down in front of our friends. I'm always going to tear her down in front of men. And it never manifested into that, because I knew she was never playing into that. And I knew I loved her more than, and it's not even she's prettier than me, or even if in other people's eyes she's prettier than me, that's cool. But that doesn't mean that I have to now almost feel inferior.
Or feed into it.
Exactly. So that's an example.
So what would you do? You guys have any, because it's quite a tricky one.
Yeah, no,
what advice do you think we can give to people that might find themselves in those situations where they feel like they're constantly competing with the women in their lives? Like,
do you know what I would say? I would give 2 pieces of advice. I would say one is you have to learn to be sure within yourself.
100%.
And I know it's so much easier said than done, but you have to kind of shift your mindset out of that, okay, well, when I go out, what's she gonna be wearing, what's she gonna look like, or what sort of attention is she, and actually just find the good in yourself. Find what you love about yourself.
I love that.
Find what makes you happy. Find good habits, all of those things. Feed into yourself more instead of feeding into his negative thoughts. And the second thing I would say as well is, if there is one particular friend that makes you feel that way, even if they're not doing it intentionally, because majority of the time they're not intentional. I would say distance yourself, and not in a sense where you stop being friends with them, because the reason why I say that is you have to be very careful. People who feel like that, they tend to project, and when I say project, I mean the friendship is no longer pure. It's always, when you're competing with someone, you end up projecting things onto them, like the way you speak to them, the way you behave around them, and when you're around other people as well. So you have to be very careful that friendship doesn't turn into something toxic and resentment doesn't build. And that's what I mean when I say distance yourself, or even just have an honest conversation. Like, if they're really your friend, and if you value them, let them know, like, look, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm dealing with. I don't want our friendship to turn into something toxic or negative. So this is what I need to do. I need to put in the work. I know what I need to do. So if you see that I'm not messaging you as much, I'm not around you as much, it's because X, Y, and Z.
And I think that's a mature way.
That's what I would say.
That's a very difficult conversation to have.
It's very
Imagine
hard,
having to tell your friend that about
you have to be honest, and you have to be vulnerable. And I think that's why a lot of people now, why their friendships turn sour, or a lot of women, let me say, know that they're in competition with one another, but it's almost like they're okay with it, especially in a specific industry, like for example influencers, like they keep each other close because it's like, oh, we know we'll
keep your enemy closer,
sort of thing. I want to see what she's doing, I want to see what move she's making next. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like
what you're touching on is so deep.
It's almost like they're okay with it,
and I don't think you should. I think in a healthy friendship, when you address those things, it actually gives birth to a deeper relationship with a person, because it shows that you care about that person much more than you're affected by like thought.
Exactly.
Because this competition thing is very subconscious, so don't ever feel bad. I think thoughts come to everybody. These feelings and thoughts can happen to anybody. It's not a thing where, oh, you're automatically a bad person because you've had a thought, and it can come out of nowhere, but it's about how you then navigate that.
Absolutely.
Those thoughts can come to, when I tell you, thoughts are things you can't necessarily control. A lot of the time, because of these things are also then impacted by society, it can even feel heavier as well.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, you're feeling this thing already in your head, then other people are co-signing it, or like, you know, outside of your bubble.
Social media era is not making it easier as well. So many, pretty girls on the internet, all these things that are happening. Absolutely.
And you know what I was going to ask? Yeah, this might be even personal, but have you guys ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like you're in competition with someone else? And the reason why I asked that is because before we started filming, we talked about it briefly, like, oh, a lot of women are in denial when it comes to that sort of thing. And I was thinking, have I ever and I would honestly answer, I would say yes, but where I've felt competition is spiritually.
Wow, really? That's so different.
I would say spiritually.
Well, no, it's not different. To be fair, a lot of people like that.
Yeah, but it's not.
So in the sense where I would say there was a certain church that I used to go to, and the level that other people were at, I almost felt like I feel like I'm not doing enough.
Below that,
like what am I doing wrong? I need to be on that level. I need to, and it got to a point where it was like, okay, I need to surpass them. In a sense, like I need to be more holy, more spiritual. And even like with, you know, like Christian Twitter, when you see someone is posting scriptures every day, people are preaching every day, and then you almost succumb to that and feel like I almost succumbed to that and felt like, okay, I need to be doing that every single day. If I'm not posting a scripture, then I'm doing it wrong.
As a Christian, obviously I can't speak for every Christian, but I feel like every Christian would probably have had that phase at least once, heavily.
And that's partly one of the reasons why I came off Twitter, because it puts unnecessary and unrealistic pressure. Because you can be doing all that, but you haven't. and this is not everyone, because I feel like we don't need to make it negative. Like, I've realized a lot of people will be like, oh, you don't know what that person is doing, they can be preaching blah blah blah, but they're not actually reading their Bibles. That's not the case. They could be doing both, and that's okay. Do you know what I'm saying? But it can be very easy to make that your idol, and then you're not actually doing anything in real life.
And if you're not securing your relationship with God, honestly, it can become very
Shaky.
performative
Yes.
very quickly.
Absolutely.
And that's where you then have those comparisons, because at the end of the day, some people feel in their spiritual life that they need to be tweeting and they need to, whilst for other people they don't need to, and because they're securing their relationship with God or their walk with the Lord, they don't that they can get to a point where that outside stuff doesn't affect them.
Exactly.
That's so
But
interesting,
if you're not,
Ash, you know?
if you're not there, then it can be very sticky. I understand that heavy. I've sometimes had to take a step myself
back
from Twitter a bit because of stuff like that as well.
I remember when I made that decision that I'm not looking at anyone else's relationship with God. I'm doing me. It was at university, and I've just been happier since.
Because I think a lot of the times when people hear like are women in competition with other women, they base it down to things like looks or what they're doing.
Yeah, that's why I said it's really interesting.
You never really think of like
because as you can imagine, with us three, you know, we've had a friendship group since, you know, sixth form. Even though I've never actually had someone explicitly say to me, but I know that when it comes to the both of you and your relationship with God, it's a bit different from mine in terms of not necessarily the development, but do you know what I mean?
Just have different relationships.
We just have different relationship with God. Some will see as, you know, you have stronger relationships with God than I do, just, you know, from just how it's viewed, and you know, do you get what I mean? So I do definitely understand that. Obviously, I've never really seen it as a competition. Like I said, I accepted very, very early on my relationship and my walk with God. But imagine that wasn't the case, and how that could have easily
turned into competition.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
And then you could feel like, oh, I need to distance myself from them because they think they're better than me.
But thank God, I can honestly say I've never ever.
And I feel like we've had conversations about
it.
Probably.
We've had.
I don't even remember, but I'm sure we have.
Anyway, we've had multiple
the
conversations.
way we all express our spirituality is different anyways, and that is completely fine.
And we can always come together and speak about God.
Yeah,
that's one thing I've always.
We all still have the same foundation. However we decide to go about it is different.
We still believe Jesus is our Lord and Savior, and that's the main thing.
Hallelujah. So
but yeah, you guys didn't I really went off, but yeah, what about you guys?
Felt, because I feel like I've been the one I expressed earlier about my example with Tammy, I didn't feel like I was in competition with her, but I could see that it could be something that could make me feel competitive.
Yeah,
because that's one. But for one that I've actually felt competitive, I'm a possessive friend. Okay, so the way I've been competitive, I've had conversation with her about it, and I've had
do you remember she's done that?
I forgot that wasn't even in
because like you said, it's always usually about looks, physical appearances, but you've spoken about spirituality, you've spoken about friendships. Like, those are different elements of it.
So mine was mate, I've got two examples. Maybe I should do both. So it was earlier on in secondary school with Temi. I just felt like she needs to be close to me, and I didn't want anybody else to be her friend. So it would be like that.
Bless
then when Ashley joined the mix, I didn't like Ashley at first because I thought that Ashley was trying to take Temi away from me. Temi is the common denominator in this palaver, as you can see. But
I will never forget that.
I can feel like that now because of the way. It's because of the bond I have with Temi. It's very deep. It's still to this day, it's the same way. And now it's the same with Ashley. I don't like when people try. It's the same. Like,
so you're saying you're still there.
To be honest, I'm working on it. Do you know what I mean? But I don't express it in a way. I've learned to be better about that because I don't think I have it in a toxic way. I just think I love my friends very much.
Yeah, you do.
So there's a certain. I don't want anyone to have the same relationship I have with them. But I am also open to the fact that they will have other friends that they are close to, and now I'm completely fine with that. But before, I think I've therefore struggled with that because you're just like, no, but nobody can be as close to you as me. But you know,
that's a really good example. You know,
it's a funny one, but I love it.
It's a funny one, but it's honest.
Yeah,
it's very honest because a lot of people in that situation. I keep saying people because this is specifically about women. Yeah. A lot of women in that situation, it could have easily turned. That's why you hear horror stories. Sorry to make it dark.
Wow,
no, but it's real.
But that's why you hear horror stories of, you know, like friends can get obsessive in a psychotic way.
Acid attacks.
I remember that story.
Do you know what I mean? In those sort of ways. So. And I think the key thing is the fact that we've all expressed it.
That's what I was going to say. The reason these things
in the examples that we've given
you up is if you don't talk about it.
If you keep it in.
I'm very quick to tell them things. If I feel away, I'll let them know.
And that's something that that's rubbed off.
The reason why is because of
class.
how much I love them. I don't ever want it to taint the friendship. And I know that the way I'm feeling is because it's not from an evil place. If I express it, it won't bloom into anything toxic. And it will literally die there.
You set like Ashley just said, it's rubbed up on us in a sense where you set that solid foundation in our friendship where because you can come to us about something that's on your mind, where we can come to you as well, because I don't think me and Ashley we're not those people that can just decide just because we're thinking of something we can tell you automatically. Maybe it will build up and we could eventually speak about it, but you're someone that will come directly and say how it is, and that's helped us to build that in our friendship so we can do the same.
That's like the foundation of our friendship.
Absolutely. Do you know, whilst we're talking, I'm trying to remember a thing. Bless her, she's giggling. I can't think of one from the top of my head, but what Ashley said is probably the closest I would say I've been in terms of maybe spiritual life. Do you know what I mean? Like, or maybe, and that kind of goes into something, it's not necessarily different, but it kind of intertwines with, you know, other things as well. So for example, like, how do I say it? Like, you know, with women, like women that are more religious or seen as more like spiritual or closer to God, they have this whole like, I think it's more how society has made it seem rather than what I think or me, you know, projecting or, you know, being envious or finding it a competition. But it's just, I just don't like the narrative that, you know, just because a woman is seen as more spiritual and more modest and, you know, she's more like she's just a good woman. Yeah. You know, and, you know, you're like, because I'm not seen as being closer to God, I'm not a good woman. It's never brought hate to my heart. It's never made me feel any kind of way. But I just don't like the way society makes it.
Those type of women against each other.
Right, because do you get it? That's where I would say my thing has come from. So it's never been towards any woman specifically. Or I've looked at a woman and think, do you think you're nice? Because overall, you know, but I do know some women have that though, where it's not necessarily, they're not necessarily angry at society for pitching them against each other. They're not looking beyond that. They're seeing it as, I do have to compete with you. You know, I do have to compete.
And some
with
people
you.
feed into it. They like
for
it.
example, like Aya, for example, like, people can see her as probably more modest than I am, and some women will probably see that as, I have to then compete with you because a man will more likely go for her. She's seen as the good girl and I'm seen as the bad girl. But I've looked beyond that and seen that that's what society's trying to make us do, and that's not good. We have to look beyond that picture and accept yourself for who you are.
Because just because I present myself a certain way and she doesn't mean that we have different morals and different ethics.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
You're just different people.
It's and you need to like, literally the key word here is remembering that it's what society has made it. Literally every single thing that we've spoken about is about how society has made it a thing. Like women have to be against each other. Like it's literally just the common denominator where it's about, and usually, you know, majority of the time it's about men, like, or we have to fight for our places with men because, you know, as a woman you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that to find a good man, you know. But I'm so glad that we've obviously come up with different examples where it's not just about men, but I do think men is like the biggest factor.
Misogyny, I think, plays into it.
That's what I was going to say.
Misogyny,
exactly that.
I was going to ask you girls a question. I was going to say, what arenas do you think women do compete in though? Like, we should list some. So we've said spirituality, we've said friendship, we've said different things, but like, what are other ways that women compete with each other?
I think achievements wise, and when I say achievements, I mean nowadays we see a lot of women living in luxury, which is amazing. Love it, here for it, absolutely. Good on you, loves. But it's now almost like, how can I say it? It's almost like some women, they want to have the one up. Like, she got a white Range Rover, so I have to get a
Lambo,
matte black Range Rover. She got a house, I need to buy land. She got this, I need to get that.
These times you're not living within your means.
She was carrying that Jack Muse bag. I need to carry the new YSL.
And that's why you see, I feel like a lot of women on social media,
influencer culture as well.
Influencer culture, if we're being honest. Whenever there's a trend, people pick it up so quickly, whether it's a designer bag, a designer item, a designer shoes, whatever it is.
A certain type of hairstyle, a certain dress.
A certain body type. It's
everywhere.
Quick.
It's the trend,
and there's a reason for that, because other women see, okay, she's getting attention, she's getting the brand deals, she's getting promotion, she's getting ads, she's getting the likes, she's getting all of these things, she's
getting the boys.
So that's what I need to do now to be on her level or to surpass her, or so that I can get the same things that she's getting. And it's like, how can I be better than her? Almost.
I even think competition amongst women is like a money making scheme, almost, because it's like I think that's something that just community and society uses us to make money.
Absolutely.
Because when it bodies is an example, designer items is an example, but even down to makeup is an example.
Hair, and I don't think it's going anywhere.
It's not. It's getting worse.
That's so sad.
Do you know what? That's what I was gonna say in terms of it getting worse. I think it's getting worse in those aspects of which we're talking about in terms of achievements and stuff. But I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Share your opinions. But in terms of competing, when it comes to men, I think it's not as much as it used to be.
In what way do you mean?
I don't think the competition is as thorough, should I say, as it used to, as cutthroat as it used to be, because at the end of the day, more opportunities have opened up for women, so there are other things they can focus on and compete about. Back in the days, like let's go as far as our parents' generation or even before that. I think it was definitely a lot to do with competing, trying to be the better woman for a man. Everything was always about a man, because you have to be able to cook, you have to be able to be clean, you need to be married. You have to be married, do you know what I mean? Like, even though it still happens in our society, especially within like African community,
it's still there, but it's not as
I get what you're saying, as it used to be, because back then it was genuine. Everything was building a woman to be loved by a man, and all of that. But now, like literally Ashley was saying, there are other things to compete for.
That's interesting, because I wouldn't say it's gotten better. I would actually say it's just changed, because even with social media culture, I think women are still competing for men in terms of how they're trying to attract men.
I'm not saying it's still not a thing. Women are still competing for men, but I'm just saying it's not as much as it used to be.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's the same, but just different. Only because I just think the playing field is different. Like before, how women used to compete for men, it was very linear, because social media wasn't a thing, or like there was only a certain type of way you could probably compete for men. But now, back in the day, it was modest women will probably get the husband, but he'll play with the other girls, and he'll get but now there's a lane for babes that don't want to be modest. There's a lane for babes that and they're competing with each other. Do you get what I'm saying? In that lane. So I even think it's just diversified.
There's still a competition. There's always going to be a competition with women, regardless.
Yeah,
but it's just about different things now.
And variety now.
And I even think another thing people can compete with is like, I'm in a relationship, they're not.
Wow.
That's another way women compete. Like heavy.
That's really a good point, because you find that a lot of people, when they do get in it, well, I keep saying people, sorry. A lot of women, when they get in a relationship, all of a sudden they now have a relationship ministry. No way. Let me finish.
I'm listening.
Why did you say no way? What did we do?
What have we said?
We're not stopping you, darling.
When I say relationship ministry, it's almost now like they now look down on people who are single. Oh, you're still single because you're doing this. You need to be doing that. Oh, listen to me. I'm the one that's in a relationship. I'm getting the ring soon. I have the ring. I can show you what to do in that. Do you get what I'm like?
Yeah, I think there's women that have a superiority complex.
That's the word.
When they get a man, which is unfortunate for you, babe, because just because you're attached to a man does not mean anything. If your personality is still crap, then it's craps. And that's just really
that is crazy. What women are doing now, making ministries when they're in relationship. I think that's a bit cheeky, isn't it?
I think like there's groups of women pick me. That's how the pick me thing started, because it's like, there's women that they almost play into the narrative of if I'm like this towards men, I'm better than the other women, like vibe. So that
if I dedicate my whole life to this,
I'm gonna get.
Then I'll get picked over.
I'm gonna. Yeah, and there's women.
I'm always gonna get picked.
Yeah.
Those are women that their lives revolve around men. Then
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine you can't actually be your true self. You have to be a certain way just because you want a man to pick you. I think that's a sad life, Jackie.
It's long. It's a sad life, Sally.
It's a sad life. I'm not gonna lie. Really I had a question, but now it's just sort of gone over my head now. But yeah,
that's all right.
Mate, do you guys have anything else you want to say? Because I've literally had something in my head.
Do you actually whilst you're thinking, do you guys think competition amongst women is always negative? Or do you think it can be a positive thing as well?
Because you know the word competition, of course, it's always seen in a negative light.
Yeah, because if you look at the actual definition of it,
it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing.
I think
sometimes there's healthy competition,
but I don't think I would use the word competition.
How does that look exactly? How does that look?
I would maybe use the word inspiration. So, for example, sorry, Temi, to put your business out there. Temi passed her driver's
Stop here! I hate you guys.
And for me, that's inspiration. I'm now using that as she spit fire up my bum.
Yeah, it's not. But I don't feel. Yeah,
do you get what I'm saying? That's where I would now say, okay, it's healthy inspiration. I wouldn't use. I don't think competition can ever be healthy in a normal space. We're not talking like sports or athletics, anything like that.
Yeah.
But in just a normal day-to-day life, the word competition, if you look at its actual definition, how can it be healthy?
It's true, actually, because if you put it in context, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. You can't compete with your friends.
Exactly. Like you wouldn't tell your siblings your children to compete with each other.
The only time I'll ever compete with you guys is if we're actually playing a game.
Exactly. And that's literally it.
And that's it. Yeah, no, facts.
I don't want to every day think that when I'm leaving my house, I'm going out to fight my friends. I must come out on top.
Imagine leaving your house to battle every single day and you come back. That's why
I'm already going through spiritual warfare. I can't go through this.
Oh my
I'm not fighting.
Some people genuinely just pick battles that are just unnecessary because
sorry.
No, it's true.
No, that's what I was going to say. Just pick battles.
You pick battle because the thing is, for some people, it's subconscious and it's just become a way of life for you. Every single day you leave the house, it's a competition.
You have to fight.
You're looking on the bus. Oh, that girl's pretty. Oh no, I feel ugly now. Like that's people's way of life, and it's unfortunate because it's very subconscious and it can come out of nowhere. But then it can become your whole identity.
By the time it becomes conscious, it's too late, and it's just a big.
Do you know what I'm saying? And you can't be free because, say for instance, that's how you live. Every time you go to an event with your friends, every time you do anything, you're never fully comfortable. You're never really happy because you're always thinking, oh, but what if this, what if that, that person, you're never free.
Yeah. And what I was going to say before was, do you remember when Benga said here earlier, the different, obviously we're bringing like men into it as well, like the opposite gender, you know. So in terms of what competition looks like for both genders is basically that, if you guys agree with this, or if you guys at home agree with this as well, that with men it's slightly different, because obviously we're talking about women, but with men it's slightly different because with the way they compete with each other, they make it very known. It's very apparent that they are competing. They make it clear that they're in competition with each other. But with women, it's more hidden and it's more of a thing where you got to do it behind closed doors. Do you guys agree with that?
I agree. I don't think women are open that they're in competition with you. Women want other women to believe that they don't see you. I don't see you. I don't see what you're doing.
Hashtag unbothered.
I'm unbothered. I don't see you. And so because
more time they're the ones preying your page. The first thing you post, they're there.
They got your notifications on. With men, I think in because of the whole toxic masculinity, alpha male narratives,
they make it known. It's like don't
competing is normal for men, and they should be competing,
and they make it clear
it's
that
encouraged.
I'm competing. And not just when it comes to women, but also when it comes to finances, when it comes to jobs, jobs and all these things. They make it very, very clear that yes, this is what I want to be doing. And like you said, you think they should be competing?
I don't think they should be competing either, because I think that's why a lot of men struggle with their mental health when they get slightly older. I think men in our age bracket, so 24 plus, like, honestly, I think a lot of men subconsciously deal with a lot of pressure that has been inflicted on them because of this competition. Like, there's men that, like, literally, I've spoken to men that behind the closed doors, and these are men that are free with their emotions, which I really appreciate, and are happy to express how they genuinely feel. They feel like they can't match up. Like, they almost feel like they're not enough, because obviously there's a standard for men, and if you're not attaining that standard in life, then it's almost like you're not a man.
It's like, what are you doing?
You're almost just seen as bottom of the barrel. And I honestly think the competition within both men and women is never healthy for anybody, because at the end of the day, if you're not like at the front of that race, you automatically feel horrible about yourself, and that can then stunt you from even growing anyways, because you feel like there's no point, or you might feel like, it's not going to happen for me. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely get what you mean.
You hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And do you know what? This might sound very controversial, what I'm about to say, but on the whole topic of competition between women, I do agree that there is competition between women. Don't get it twisted. Absolutely. But I feel like society has made it a thing where I'm trying to find the right word.
I think I know what you want to say.
Society has let me use the word focus. This might not be the right word. They focus so much on the fact that there's a competition that it seems more than what it is.
Yes, because when my cousin brought this up to me,
because when you think of women, one of the first things you think of, women are so fake. Women don't really like each other. Women are but
is it that deep?
Is it really the case? Because we're all aware of it, so we try to do better, not compete. You know, there are women are lovely to each other. Let's not deny that. And there are loads of good-hearted women out there, you know, that don't care about these things, but they don't speak about that. They focus more on the negative narrative of what women are like and how we, you know, we're a friendship group. We're average friendship group, and we've never really competed with each other, and we're not the only ones.
Exactly.
There are loads of friendship groups out there that have never really been in competition.
Yes.
So the fact that we've grown up to believe that our gender is very competitive in itself is an issue, because then it's as if they're trying to groom competitive women.
Exactly.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
It's like a conditioning.
It's like, because it's been ingrained in people's
like
minds.
Conditioning.
It's almost now like there's even some people who probably listen to us, our examples, and how we've said we've never been in competition with each other, and they're probably thinking, "No, I don't believe that." They probably are subconsciously. They probably hate each other. They don't like each other.
But why does that? Why can you not look past that and see?
You can't believe that women can.
Why can you believe
in healthy spaces?
Why are you so sure we've been in competition, but you can't have that same energy for the fact that we haven't been? It's a bit something.
And that's so true, because when he asked me that question, that's why, because I can't relate, because I come from a healthy friendship group,
right?
Like, it was almost like I see how women are competing.
Yeah,
but
we're not saying it's not there.
That's not the whole narrative.
No
for
one's
women.
saying it's not
It's
there.
not every woman. You've written this narrative that women are one. They're all like that.
It's
and
that
they're
key
not.
word, competitive, fake.
Yeah.
Or women, you lot are just fake to each other. You like you don't even like each other. You're always laughing at each other's faces. You're bitching in each other's faces. You know, things like that.
That's such a good point, and that's a great place to even round the conversation up, because genuinely that is so true. There's this conditioning that women almost are born into, that you're automatically competing with other women. That there's this what's that thing as well? That thing about being a good woman. Like there's this thing that are just ingrained into us. Yeah, like they're just ingrained to us from early, where it's like not all women function on that vibration. We're not all there.
That's it.
Like a lot of us are actually just living our lives.
That's it.
We teach women not to be competitive for things like jobs, but we teach them to be competitive for the attention of men. Like who was the person that said it? Do you not remember?
I know what
that Nigerian.
You might as well have said it yourself. Because
the Nigerian.
Chimamanda, is it her?
Yes, she said that. You know,
that's sick. Women are taught not to be competitive in jobs and stuff, but they're taught to be competitive
with men and each other. Like, it's just where's your
preaching.
That's deep, you know.
It's sad.
That's crazy.
That's literally everything we've been saying.
No, it's very sad.
But I know. Do you know what? I'm glad the women around me we know better anyway. You know,
and we're doing better.
That's more. The women around me are more than enough to influence other women, and the woman around Ayo is more than enough to influence other women. The woman around Ashley is more than enough to influence. So we're influencing each other as we go anyway.
And I hope
I have powerful women around me.
Facts. And I hope what we've shared can influence your friendship groups and even just your personal mindset. Because if you personally are struggling with secret competition in your head, which is normal, I'm gonna say this now. It's normal for thoughts to come.
Yes.
Don't act like, I don't want you to feel like you're odd, but don't let them become your identity and don't walk in the competition.
And don't let it consume you.
Yeah. And also, just to point out one last thing, the statement that I made about, you know, the conditioning, the reason why I feel like a lot of people might not agree with that is, like we said at the beginning of the podcast, based off personal experiences as well. You know, you find it hard to look outside the box when you've experienced a certain types of friendship. So you could look at it and be like, no, I don't believe that, because not gonna lie, last week Clanisha said this, that. You know, we get it.
This is what's happened in the past.
You know,
this is what I see on social media.
Do you know what I mean? But that's literally a small minority in the circle of like
how many
You've
women
got to widen your perspective
in just this Croydon or London, you know, but
just widen your perspective.
That's it.
I think it's very important to widen your perspective, because when you see how many women there are in the world, there's no need to compete. We're all doing our own race. We're all walking.
We're all doing well. We're getting better. Getting better. Can't just.
But yeah,
no, this was a really good topic. I really liked it.
So did I.
I hope you guys share your thoughts and opinions in the comments, because I definitely think this is something that would trigger a lot of conversation. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you're following and subscribe to all our platforms, and we will see you next week.
Bye.